What's up guys, TC here and welcome back to Starbound Nightly, and today we've got quite a few new weapons we're going to look at, and at the end of the video we're going to have a quick update on what's going to be happening next week. So first and foremost I want to talk about what we talked about yesterday with this whip. So I showed you guys Liu Kang's energy whip, which is a backer weapon, and I talked about some other variants of it. Here we have the vine whip and the rope whip. Now these variants are in the game, but they don't have secondary abilities yet, which I'm almost positive they will. In fact, I saw a dev blog just today that showed a Indiana Jones style ability where it could latch on to like ceiling and objects, so you can actually swing around with it. So I'm looking forward to that. Now it is my suspicion that these items are going to be like gauntlets and boomerangs and chakrams, where you find the default version, which I think is going to be the rope whip, and then you can upgrade it to different variants. And with the possibility of maybe the Liu Kang's energy whip maybe being like a special variant you find. I don't know if this one will be upgradable to like these. It wouldn't make much sense. But anyways, we have quite a few new ones here that I want to show, but I want to point out first and foremost that they're very weird. Some of them don't make a lot of sense, and there's a very good chance they probably still need to be balanced out a little bit more. So if you don't know, the backer weapons are basically early in the game's development, there were different levels of people who could donate and back the game. And at the very highest end of development or backing, there were people that basically it's like a deal where if you donated a certain amount of money, that you got the option to design a weapon, and they would create it and put it in the game before release. And so that's kind of what these next couple weapons are. That's why they have special names like Liu Kang's energy whip and Zephyr's spark launcher. So that's kind of what these things are. Their balance and viability is questionable at best. So this first one here is a prime example of that. Here we have the energy pickaxe, and it says it's a mining tool unlike anything you've seen in other media, which is exactly right. So I thought this thing would be like a specialized mining tool that will be better than the matter manipulator, but it's actually considerably worse. So I can't give you a excuse me, I can't give you a side-by-side example of the fully upgraded matter manipulator versus this thing, because in the nightly you can't really upgrade your matter manipulator all the way. So I'm just have to give you an example. But this thing, it mines in a 3x3 area. It has a very, very short range, and it's slower than the matter manipulator. So here's a perfect demo of it here. It's just, I don't know what the deal is with it. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be that slow or what. In my opinion, it should mine faster than the matter manipulator, but in a 3x3 area at close range, because then it would actually be useful as like a mining tool, because it would be able to mine things like those like really, really hard stuff like magma rock and core fragments and diamonds really quickly. But there'd be a trade-off in that it doesn't mine as in big of an area, and it doesn't have the range that the matter manipulator has, and on top of that it takes up an inventory spot, right? So it'd be pretty balanced if it can outdo the matter manipulator in at least one area. But it doesn't seem to outdo it in any area. And also I thought maybe it would do damage or something, but it doesn't do that. I thought maybe it was dual wieldable, but it's a two-handed thing. So yeah, I'm not really sure what the deal is. I think it looks really cool and I want it to be useful, but yeah, it doesn't really seem to have much of a use right now. So up next we have the Exmachina rocket launcher, which I love this thing. It looks really cool. However, it's a little bit weak for a rocket launcher. So if most of you know, most rocket launchers, they do in the 30s and 40s damage per shot. This thing does 14.6, which is kind of weak. Its primary effect is a pretty quick rocket, and its secondary one is a very, very finely controlled slow rocket. In fact, you can get it to go in circles like that and down to that. It's very, very, very slow, which gives it a lot of control, which is really cool. But again, it's very, very weak for a rocket launcher. But anyways, moving on. This next one here is even more confusing than the damn pick. This one's called Zephyr's spark launcher, which is it's actually like a firework gun, and it's really cool. And then it fires a rocket like a little firework that spits out these things. Its secondary effect shoots off these sparkles, right? But the problem is that it does extraordinarily low damage. You see here, damage per shot is 0.3. So if you go up here and we shoot, we're going to get about 11 damage total out of that. I just don't see the use for it. And the sparkles actually do 0 damage, which is really funny. I'm not sure if it's like a joke weapon or what the idea is. I'm not quite sure what it is. It is maybe useful to point out, if you look closely at the image, it actually does have 3 little dye containers, a yellow, blue, and red one built in. So maybe there'll be a way in the future to change the color of the rocket. I don't know. Like I said, it's just a really, really weird weapon. I don't see much use for it. I wish it would do more damage. Then it might actually be a good, like, area of effect damage type weapon. So up next we have a new sword, and this is called Soulseeker sword. Now this is there's 2 types of swords in the game. There are broadswords and short swords. Broadswords are 2-handed weapons, and short swords are 1-handed. This one's very unique in that it is labeled as a broadsword, but it's 1-handed. And also, if you notice, it has a pretty cool little, what's it called? Like, it has little particles like kind of flowing off of it like fire. Now, one thing to point out is it's a one-handed weapon, so you can have two, and this thing hits like a truck. Like this, it does 194 damage per swing, and it's a one-handed weapon, so you could have two, putting your damage output almost at 400 damage per swing with both hands, which is really insane. So yeah, it's crazy high damage per swing. Up next, we have the Time-Pierced Broadsword. Now this one is it looks kind of like a musical note. Very cool. And whenever you swing it, it has these little, like, I don't know what these, like, little particle purple things that kind of float off. And it has the super spin slash ability. It's a very cool weapon. I'm not sure, like I said, the damages on these things are all weird. So, like, this one actually does less damage than the one-handed Soulseeker sword, which is strange because it's two-handed. But yeah, definitely really cool looking. It's very unique. It looks like a musical note or something like that, you know. But this last weapon here I want to show is super cool. Definitely my brand new favorite weapon in the game. And it's a new type of throwing weapon that we haven't seen before. And it's called a Magnor, and this thing is amazing. So it's a two-handed weapon. Even though it only occupies one hand, it is not dual-wieldable, right? And so as you can see, it looks like you have like a little glove on and these three little rotating spheres around it. And its description is a specialized magnetic glove for throwing and catching specially designed orbs. Now, what this thing is, essentially, you left-click it, it shoots a little orb out, and it returns to you. So it's a throwing weapon, but the cool part is that because there's three of them, you can actually shoot out all three, and you can continue to do this. And because it's a throwing weapon, it doesn't use energy. Now, I understand it looks a little bit overpowered in this scenario, but that's because it's bouncing off this back wall. So the little magnetic ball is coming directly back to me. Normally, it would actually just go through him. So we'll actually get rid of this really quick. There we go. So here's more like what it's actually going to be like. But it's yeah, it's an amazing weapon. Makes you feel like Magneto because you're just kind of like controlling these spheres that are bouncing all around the room. Super cool. Very useful. I cannot wait to find this thing. And honestly, I hope we get more weapons like this. Starbound really needs some really cool, interesting weapons, and this thing is just amazing. So anyways, that's going to wrap up all the new weapons. Really quick update. I am going to be, I have to make a quick trip back home on Saturday. I'm going to be gone for a week. So that means there will not be any more episodes for this upcoming week. The good news is that we will have a really big update video when I get back. So, and there will probably be a lot of really cool weapons in that video. But anyways, that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please rate, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later.